Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a holiday edition of the JP Peterson Show here on this Monday after a humongous weekend of college football. Nick Geddes from On3 Sports joining me this morning. We got lots to get to. So many big games over the weekend. We got another huge game tonight for Florida State. Honestly, their season hanging in the balance against what should be a very interesting Boston College team with a quarterback that knows how to run in Castellanos, that the Knowles couldn't tackle last year with that great defense. So much to get to. The Bucs are back at practice this morning. We'll hopefully get some reports that Yaya Diaby is out there and ready to go. We shall see. But lots to get to. So good morning to you, Nick Geddes. How are you?
Good morning. Doing great. Wasn't that just awesome this past weekend? I mean, the NFL is going to make its return here on Thursday night, which is going to be awesome. And then you got the Friday night game in Brazil as well. But college football,
forgot about that.
Yeah, this is going to be great. But college football had the weekend to its own. It did not disappoint. We have so many storylines to cover, and especially in the state of Florida, Every team's got its own story. I mean, it was a wild, wild weekend. And guess what? I sat on my couch the entire day and enjoyed it.
Yeah. And last night we had a great game in SC and LSU. I'll tell you this, though. I got murdered in my picks. Murdered. I thought we'd get a lot of underdogs, plucky underdogs scoring points and covering spreads. Nah, it was a whitewash for the major teams going up against the Western Kentucky, 63-0 for Alabama. I mean, just across the board.
We had a few nearly upsets, like the Oregon-Idaho was
that was an interesting game. The Vandals brought a few trick plays.
Yeah,
that
was dangerous for Oregon.
Yeah.
Michigan was in a dogfight with Fresno State for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Texas Tech went to overtime against
what the hell was that?
I forgot who it was. Abilene
Christian.
Christian. They went to overtime with them. So we had a few near upsets, but for the most part, the favorites ruled in week one.
Yeah, and the Florida-Miami game, boy, repercussions from that thing. And we're going to jump all up in that. So if you're a college football fan, sit back and relax. You're going to hear from all the key players and coaches in this. And yes, FSU has a huge game tonight against Boston College, a team that took them to the wire last year. It was kind of a weird game last year. So we'll get all into that. Pat Burnham's going to join us from the Osceola at 11:05. So he breaks it down like nobody's business. And interesting things to report from practice this week at Florida State. And we're going to get to that in a bit because we're going to start with Miami and Florida. But I'm just telling you, as a Seminole fan, I'm worried. I'm worried about this team. I'm worried about this game tonight. I think there's a lot of unknowns about this team still. And they better come out with an intensity that they did not have in Dublin. They did not have. So we'll see. But let's start with Miami and Florida. Not the beatdown I was expecting. I picked the Gators to win. I thought the magic of the swamp, the pressure that was on Billy Napier and his team, that they would respond. And you just hit me with an incredible stat that does not bode well for one Billy Napier, Sunshine Billy. What Sunbelt Billy, I should say. Give me that number.
So over at On3, who I work for, they do the team ranking breakdown. And this is factoring in basically the talent on your roster. And Florida is 10th. They have the 10th most talented roster on paper. And when you even narrow it down to the blue chip ratio, 71% of their roster are 4 and 5 stars.
Jesus.
That is the 5th highest percentage in all of college football.
5th highest percentage of 4 and 5 stars.
Correct.
Wow.
The only teams ahead of them are Georgia, Texas, Alabama, and Texas A&M.
And you're looking at another 4-win season, or maybe 5-win season. Yeah, because it's not just the fact you got beat by Miami; it's the way you got beat. You got outgained by 268 yards. outgained by 268 yards, 261 total yards of offense, 71 coming on one play. I mean, it was bad. And listen, and I think Miami's a really good football team. They're a good football team. They're not that good. I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe we will see that finally Miami puts it all together, because they certainly did in this spot. I thought that oppressive heat, put Miami under a little bit of pressure, and we'll see what happens. That never was the case. It was a cakewalk from the very beginning. 2 huge roughing penalties. One I thought was a good call. One was a little iffy, that both turned into touchdowns for Miami. That was huge. But once again, undisciplined play from a Florida team. That's been their hallmark for the past 5 to 6 years, as far as, between throwing shoes and making stupid penalties. This is what Florida's come to be known as. And that's sad, because it wasn't always the case. And that points straight to the coaching staff. And look, I've said you can't keep changing coaches every 3 years. That's a recipe for disaster. You've got to have some patience. And clearly Billy Napier can recruit. But a lot of that recruiting is just the fact that it's the Florida Gators. Florida Gators recruit. That it's an SEC team in the state of Florida. Lots of kids are going to always want to go to the University of Florida. Other guys can come in there and recruit. It's always been a hotbed, right? You're always going to get talent. That's why it's one of the best jobs. But you gotta turn that talent into W's. And this year's going to be tough with that schedule. It's ridiculous, but you got to play better. You got to play better than that. And you can't make stupid mistakes. And, if you're, and the vitriol going towards Billy Napier is very, not since maybe Willie Taggart have I felt that type of vitriol from a fan base towards a coach. And it's deserved at this point. It's deserved.
There are so many alarming things with Florida. And to the point about patience, we talked a lot about in the offseason. We talked about it last offseason too on this show, that if you're Florida, it's going to be tough, but you got to hang in there through some of the bad times. You got to have a little bit of patience. But you want to know the problem, JP, is their schedule is what it is. We know that they're going to be fighting uphill. We always knew that going in. But it was going to depend on how you lose some of these games. And we talked a lot about the whole Bobby Bowden sort of motto when he took over Florida State. And I believe it was him who said, you get blown out by teams, then you start to lose by a little, then you win by a little, then you win by a lot, right?
Yep.
This is year 3 under Billy Napier.
Mm-hmm.
Year 3 is usually where, if you're the guy, you start to see results sort of turn around. Mike Norvell, for example, it was year 3 in 2022 where he won 10 games and Florida State was able to right the ship a little bit. And here we are in year 3, and it's week 1 against Miami, one of your rivals.
Yep.
You're at home in front of a sold-out crowd. You have all the recruits that you have lined up there, right there in the end zone, ready to see you go to work. It's week 1. There's all optimism. Everybody's still full of some degree of optimism.
Yeah.
And you get throttled the way that you did. That is what is going to be Billy Napier's downfall, is that in terms of that whole Bobby Bowden thing that I just told you, This is year 3, and he's still in phase 1. Yeah. They are still getting blown out by teams. Remember, they cratered last year. They lost, the last 5 games of the season? Yep. They haven't won a game since October of last year against South Carolina. So there's nothing going right in the Billy Napier direction. And keep in mind, since Urban Meyer's departure in 2010, it's been Will Muschamp, Jim McElwain, Dan Mullen, Billy Napier. Will Muschamp won 10 games. Jim McElwain won 10 games.
Yep.
Got fired midway through his 3rd year. Dan Mullen took the Gators to 3 consecutive New Year's 6 bowl games, won 2 of them, and won 10 games twice, and was fired after an underwhelming 4th year, a year after going to a New Year's 6 bowl game.
Yeah.
So what has Billy Napier done to tell you that he deserves to make it through year 3 if this continues to go in this direction? I know he's got he's recruited well, but guess what? At some point, the results have to show on the field. And I just told you, it's not like there's no talent all over this roster. And of course, it's up to the coaching staff to sort of develop these guys. And Billy Napier has quite frankly just not done a good enough job. And the gap between them and a team like Miami, which I know they were ranked 20 going into the season, I think that's a bit low. And that's clear, as we saw in that field the other day. Miami's a top 10 football team, and right now they're the class of the ACC because the ACC is horrible. after week 1. The gap is so large right now. The gap is probably even larger between them and the other teams in their own conference, which we're going to see later on. So I know his
And their
buyout, I think,
schedule
is
easy.
yeah. I know the buyout is like
Easy.
26 million plus or something like that. In
Mhm.
Florida, listen, they're going through some changes. The president had to step down, so now they have an interim in.
And
Scott Strickland,
controversy following that as well.
controversy following that. And Scott Strickland, by the way, he deserves to take some blowback for this too. I don't think Scott
Hell yes.
Strickland
Hell yes.
should get off easy here. I think
No,
I
think
think he's on
gonna
the
be
hot
on
seat as
way
well.
out. Absolutely. Absolutely. He's on the way out as well. You can't make this many bad hires and survive. You just can't. And they need a whole overhaul at Florida. I mean, in terms of the presidency, the athletic director, everything needs to be overhauled at Florida. And I think, Billy Napier, it kind of reminds me of the Ron Zook era. Ron Zook went out and recruited like hell, but he couldn't win on the field. He just couldn't win on the field. He wasn't a good game day coach. He was a special teams coach. Everybody loved him. He was a great recruiter, but he couldn't put it together on game day. That's a lot about what's going on right now with Billy Napier. And obviously, the competition in the SEC is tough. But you see Alabama loses their coach. They go out and try to get Norvell. Couldn't, and get Kalen DeBoer, who was, a proven winner at a high level, right? You see LSU. They lose Go Tigers at Orgeron, and they go out and get a proven winner in Brian Kelly, who we'll hear from in just a moment. We got some great sound for you today. You lose your coach in Dan Mullen, you fire a winner, and you go get Sunbelt Billy.
And what was the whole thing? Scared money don't make money, right?
Yeah.
And yet I watch the Florida Gators play, and I don't see any intensity in the way that he calls a football game.
No.
I don't see any urgency in it. And it's the same things. Year 3, undisciplined football. It's crap football.
Yep.
That's what Billy Napier's legacy at the moment is Florida. It's crap on the field.
Yeah, when you're having elementary mistakes, like not being able to put 11 guys on the field constantly, you have to hire a coach to make sure you have 11 people on the field. These are not things that you're setting the bar pretty low as far as what you need. Now, listen, give him credit. He went out and changed the whole damn thing. New defensive coordinator, new nutritionist, strength coach, everything. He went out and did some shopping, but it doesn't appear to have borne any fruit whatsoever. That was a pathetic performance. And listen, I know it's one game, and I know there's obviously you got a whole season left, but when it's against one of your rivals, and now he's 1-10 against FSU, Tennessee, Georgia, their main rivals. Right. I mean, that just doesn't play. Yeah. It doesn't play. And I've seen a lot of vitriol from a lot of very powerful Gators, by the way, and they want him gone. The problem is firing a coach in midseason like this is not going to help you. And the other part about it is, if he goes, does DJ Lagway go somewhere else?
That's the number one. That's the unfortunate part. Is this was the recruiting class that everybody was waiting on for Napier to sign. And let's be honest with you, it kind of fell apart a little bit towards at the end of the recruiting cycle. But the big thing was that he was able to keep DJ Lagway signed. He was able to keep LJ McCray on the defensive side signed. And we got a chance to see Lagway play in that game. And I'm not going to honestly I'm not going to go too deep into what I took away from that game for DJ Lagway. The guy's been on campus for like 6-8 months or something, and he's thrown into the fire. He's thrown into the fire in a blowout against a team like Miami. It is what it is. But the unfortunate reality is that I don't think Billy Napier is the guy to lead Florida into the future. I don't think many people do. And unfortunately, DJ Lagway is probably going to be in the portal next year. Like, it sucks to say that if you're a Florida fan after watching one game, but that's the world we live in these days. Yeah. Like, DJ Lagway, it's very possible, will not be the quarterback of the future for Florida because the head coach that recruited him is not going to be here. And quite frankly, JP, I think Florida is at a crossroads here because we're 14 years removed from Urban Meyer leaving Florida and the legacy he left behind with 2 national championships and everything he did there. And for 14 years, yes, I mentioned they've had a few 10, 11 win game seasons, but no coach has been able to sustain it going into that 4th year. They've always fallen apart in that 4th year. And similar to how Michigan was in 2014, remember, Michigan was down
Yeah.
for most of the start of the 21st century.
Oh, yeah.
And they went big
struggled.
game hunting and were able to go get Jim Harbaugh. And I know that was a perfect storm because he was available and he was a Michigan man. But Florida's got to swing big. And I'm just going to say it right now, and I'm not the first one to say it. Urban Meyer is available. And I'm not sold that Urban Meyer sitting on the big noon kickoff desk and that he wants his lasting legacy in coaching to be what happened in Jacksonville. I know that how it ended in Florida, there was a lot of controversy, and that's probably putting it mildly.
Yeah.
But you have to go big game hunting if you're Florida, if you decide that Billy Napier is not the guy to lead you into the future. And that's just one name that I'm going to throw out there.
Look, I think Urban Meyer days are done as a coach. There's too much baggage, man. There's too much baggage. And that guy that coached in 06 and 08 and won national championship, that dude does not exist anymore. The dude that is in that body is the dude that's getting drunk while his team is driving back or flying back to Jacksonville. And he's got his hands down some young lady's pants. That's who Urban Meyer. I can't believe he has a job on the big noon kickoff, to be quite honest. I mean, and then the stories of what he did in Jacksonville. I mean, it's a man who has lost it. I think. I mean, that stuff is you're going to risk putting your team back in the hands because you think he can be the same dude that he was 10 years ago, 15 years ago when he was on his way up.
Well,
no way.
He was last head coach in 2019,
as a Seminole,
and he was still a really good one.
Have at it. Fine. That's a program that, and if you have any integrity at all, how do you bring him back? I mean, the dude oversaw a murderer shoot
That's
people
true.
and let him hang out and play for a couple more years. I mean, do we need to get into any of this stuff that would happen in Florida? And by the way, if you watch the documentary, that ain't what it was about, folks. Someone needs to do a real documentary on that.
Yeah. Maybe Urban isn't the right name, but the point is,
no, I hear you though.
They got to go big game.
And
by the way,
right.
it's not Jimbo Fisher. It sure as hell is not Jimbo Fisher. Okay, I know he's available, but it ain't Jimbo Fisher. I'll tell you that one right now. Jeremy Lowe put in the chat, Lane Kiffin's my pick. A lot of Florida fans have been mentioning Lane Kiffin, but honestly, JP, Ole Miss can recruit the same players that Florida can do at this point. Florida's
not like Florida.
Florida is a little bit of a broken brand. Do you think he'd leave Ole Miss where he can win 9 games every single year and continue to get contract extensions?
Yeah, I think he would. I think he knows there's a ceiling at Ole Miss for a few reasons. You're never going to get the depth of program that you could get at Florida. As Ole Miss, when's the last time Ole Miss won a national championship? 1963 or whatever. Have they ever? It's been a long Billy Cannon. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, it's a beautiful story. They can have some really good teams. They can get some big wins. They can beat Alabama, but consistently, I don't think you have way more resources at the University of Florida. I understand what you're saying, and maybe there's something in Lane, but I think Lane wants to be top dog. And the University of Florida would give him an opportunity. That was as a Seminole. No, please stay at Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin. Please stay there. Do not go to Florida. And if I were Florida, I would back up the freaking Brinks truck and pay him whatever he wants.
If you were Florida, you'd give him anything he wants for sure.
And judging from some of the videos I've seen on the interweb, Nick Saban may be available soon too. I don't think he can sit next to Pat McAfee for much longer. I could drive him back into as bad as the coaching is. I could drive him right back into coaching. How weird is that whole deal? That's another thing we got to talk about. Like that whole vibe going on between Nick Saban and Pat McAfee's trying to, and Saban came on McAfee's show on Friday. I don't know if you saw that. And, McAfee's doing all his shenanigans. And, I thought Nick handled it pretty well, but I don't know. It seems a little weird, but I digress. And, as we sit here and talk about Florida, we're kind of burying the lead. As much as I hate to say this, Miami's effing good.
Yeah.
They are. Cam Ward And, I think James put in the comments here that FSU paid the wrong guy. They wanted to pay Cam Ward.
Yeah.
They wanted Cam Ward. They didn't, DJ was their second pick.
I was going to say, there's
far.
a reason why DJ was ready to come to Florida State. They
Yeah.
made him wait because they wanted to see if they could land Cam Ward. Cam Ward was the guy to get in the transfer portal. Mike Norvell knew that. And unfortunately, he chose to go to Miami. And based on the way I saw Florida State play in week 1, you can't really blame Cam Ward for making that decision. And that's going to be the difference, I think, in the ACC when you compare Miami and Florida State. Is Florida State does not have the difference maker at the quarterback position. Miami does.
Yeah.
Miami does. Yeah. He was so composed in that. I know the broadcast kept talking about it, but the Swamp is not an easy place to play.
No,
it's
I thought
not.
he will. I thought he'd wilt under that heat because he was 0-5 in his last 5 road games, and he'd never played in front of a crowd like that. And it looked like he was playing in his backyard with his cousins. And the one play early in the game, he runs out of the pocket, and he just walks off. He just
and nobody touches him. Nobody touches him.
Nobody touched him.
Nobody touches him.
I honestly thought the whistle had blown. I thought somebody blew the play dead. I was like, what are you doing? Like, Florida's he's still in bounds.
Right.
If you're going to take a shot, take a shot. He's still in bounds and he's a runner. Yeah. What are you doing? And they just let him walk out of it. And they let him do it twice.
They let him do it twice on that same drive, which is disappointing. But that even before we get back to Miami, but that's a deeper symptom of what I saw from Florida. Yeah. On Graham Mertz's final play of the game, when he took a big shot and he threw that interception there in the red zone. I forgot who picked it up, but he's running back. There's a clip that was going around. There's 2 Florida offensive linemen who are walking. They're walking as the Miami defender who just picked off your quarterback who you let just get murdered, essentially. Yeah. You're walking on the field, just letting him go by.
Yeah.
No effort whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, that was piss poor. And and that's the things that really make coaches look bad, but the players got to take accountability for that as well. That's just bad. But Cam Ward, 385, 3 touchdowns, 26 of 35. And by the way, he's got weapons. It's not just Restrepo. It's all over the field. He's got weapons. And that second running back they got, 25, the young freshman, holy Nikes. The way that guy moves, that Miami is, I don't know how Cristobal is going to screw this up, but he's going to screw it up. I don't even think he can screw this up. These guys are just good. They got
this team's talented. This team's talented as hell.
He's got Cam Ward in there, up 41-17 with 7-8 minutes to go. Yeah. And Cam got bent over one time. He got bent over. Right. And I was like, oh my God, why is he still in the game? And he kept him in for another series. That's the stupid stuff that Cristobal does.
Yeah, it was a little, and they were throwing too.
What's that? Throwing. What are you doing? What are you doing?
No, but to me, the real strength of Miami, it's Cam Ward obviously puts him over the top, and Damian Martinez too. The transfer from Oregon State, big bruising running back. He had some moments. You mentioned Restrepo, but I saw this last year when they played Florida State in that very close game.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, Miami, the way they have recruited on their defensive line. They are deep at that position.
Says he's going to be back in a couple of weeks. So they lost in their top corner too.
Right.
That's the only thing that's going to keep Miami down is if they get some injuries at key positions, because that team looked really freaking good and their schedule is really manageable. They're just going to be laying in wait until October, I think 26 it is when FSU comes to town. And I will not be at that game.
Yeah, and the way and the way too, Miami's got their, they've always been the swag program and all that stuff, and sometimes it's a detriment, like the whole turnover chain that they did a few years back. That thing's been thrown away. Thank goodness. We don't need any turnover chains. Florida State doesn't need any turnover backpacks for crying out loud.
No.
But like I said, Florida had all those recruits in the end zone, and you saw Miami going up to them.
Yeah.
And mocking them and everything. And they were trying to talk to them and everything and telling them hey, you don't want to play here. You want to play for Miami. You want to play for the U. Yeah. And Florida staffers were doing everything they could to get the Miami's players away from those recruits. But you're not going to stop it.
That's classless. That's classless. It's very Miami. But that's their swag.
That's who they are.
That's their swag. That's who they are. Step into it, And I think at this point, it would be, I think, a really good point to go to a man, I think, who summed this up better than we've just been talking for 24 minutes. We can't even begin to approach the level of intricacy of analysis and emotion that Josh Prey on Twitter did for this Florida Gators loss. Sit back and enjoy just quintessential fandom here. Roll it.
Josh Prey, and I come to y'all humble as I can. It's game one. I love the Florida Gators. I die for the Florida Gators. The University of Florida football team has me sitting in front of a Denny's, damn it. When the last time you on purpose went and sat in front of a damn Denny's, damn it? I'm not saying nothing disrespectful to Denny's, but there's a lot of other options. And that Gator team, after watching, Miami fans came in there. I've never seen nothing like this. It would look like it was about 12 of them at the start of the game. And then it multiplied. I went from 12 to 20,000 to 40,000. They had a little corner in the left side of the stadium over there, and they were saying things I wanted to know so bad what they was chanting at us. And then the damn quarterback, he was moving in fast, slow motion. He was looking like Neo in the Matrix. He ain't look that great, but damn it, he was great. There were so many Haitian men and Cuban men and Asian men and women and white men and women. Miami brought a melting pot. They brought a whole damn crayon to the University of Florida, and they just scribbled all over our damn stadium. I am 40. I'm trying to lose weight. The doctor said if I yell, my blood pressure gonna be high. My blood pressure is higher than Carmen Electra ass in the 90s right now. You understand me? I am in front of a damn Denny's right now. A Denny's right now. That is Denny's out there. Florida Gators, y'all supposed to make me want to go to Ruth Chris. Y'all supposed to make me want to go to Ruth Chris and get a medium steak, because I know how to eat a medium steak now, in the water with a couple lemon. I want to be exotic. I throw a lime in there. But no, you got me in Denny's where I'm not sure if the damn plates are clean and they wash their forks. But you know what? I don't care. I ain't finna go in here and ask for no plastic. My fat ass finna go in here and sit at the bar. You know how pathetic I gotta be to sit at a damn bar in Denny's?
Carmen Electra's ass in the 90s.
I'm not going to Texas no more. Miami.
Going to Texas.
I'm not going to Texas. I am going to Texas. I'm just going, because y'all took everything else away from me. Might as well take the rest of the little bitty ass money I got, because y'all came to Gainesville on the damn Saturday at 3:30 and ruined my damn day. I got a whole night to go through. It was so many. Carolina said that. South by say they throwing up the stupid ass you, touching their thumbs at the same time.
Touching their thongs. Is that what he said?
And then the Miami women fan base is so damn fine that you mad and you angry, but everything they wearing is hypnotic. I'm talking about from 25 to 65. I seen a woman that was 72 years old with a white sweater. Baby, you can take them to...
He almost...
I can't go through this no more. I can't do this no more. All I want to do is tell jokes and root for the Gators, and we win a little bit. I understand we gonna lose sometimes. My delusion has become real. My delusion has become real. My delusion is real. I am in front of a damn Denny's right outside of Gainesville, and I am stressed. My box is just broke right now.
My box is just broke. Oh, Josh Prey, right? That's his name?
Yeah.
Follow him on Twitter. That is so good. I mean, can you say it any better than that?
No, it was just as good as the
Gator
first
fan.
time that I watched it last night.
Oh my God. So good. Throw it up to you and touching that thong. Oh my God. And this is what scares me. We got to deal with this shiz now. I mean, there's nothing more insufferable than the Miami fan base when they're winning. They're insufferable when they're losing. When they're winning, oh my God, it's the worst. It's the worst. But we've seen this before. I mean, Mark Richt had them 10-0, but it was a different 10-0. I don't think they've had a quarterback complete an NFL pass since like 2004. Like Craig Erickson was the last Miami quarterback to, I think, complete a pass in the NFL. They've had nothing at quarterback, and I mean nothing. But now they got a guy. Now they got a guy in a portal. You know, it wasn't somebody they home recruited. They got a guy, and he's freaking good. Cam Ward is good. Now, he threw a bad pick
Yeah.
And he's been known to do that.
He's
and that
prone
could
to
cost
have
him
one
in
of
a
those
big
game.
game. Yeah, that could cost him in a big game. But I don't know if it's going to – they look so good. I don't think it's going to matter. If you're throwing picks up 14, who cares? Just keep throwing and throwing touchdowns. I mean – and that kind of brings us to our first break, and I don't want to get to FSU and some of the other things we saw over the weekend. And who's the best team in college football right now? It's week 1. I mean, but you see things, right? You see things.
Right.
I know who it's not. It's not Florida State, and it's not Clemson. That's for damn sure. It's not either one of those teams. But there's some good teams out there, no question about it. So we'll take a quick break. We are brought to you by the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group. Oh, Scott Jeeves is not happy. Like he is digging into the pocket like the rest of you Gator boosters and said buyouts. Buy Billy. It's so bad. The Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. If you have any issues, any legal issues at all, go to their website, contact them through there. You can email them or you can call them. And get a free consultation, a free case evaluation at thejeeveslawgroup.com. Don't call him up and just, razz him about his Florida Gators. Call only if you have some legal questions. Jeeveslawgroup.com. Back in 3 with more college football talk. Stay with us. Celebrate August with the dazzling green hue of peridot, known for its vibrant and refreshing sparkle. Yes, that's the birthstone of August at the Gold and Diamond Source. Explore the Gold and Diamond Source's stunning collection of peridot jewelry, showcasing the gemstone's unique glow and versatility in rings, necklaces, and earrings. Peridot's distinctive color makes it a standout choice for any occasion, adding a touch of elegance and charm to your ensemble. Enjoy 15% off when you shop August Gems online only. Stop by the Golden Diamond Source to experience the allure of August Gem and let their expert staff help you find the perfect peridot piece. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmsted Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Hey, it's football season, so we welcome back the FSU Football Report every Monday and Friday on the J.P. Peterson Show, sponsored by those huge FSU fans at Italiano Insurance. They'll save you money as well. Just do a quick insurance checkup, 813-877-7799. They just saved me $500 on homeowners insurance. Who's doing that? Yeah, they just shopped it around, found a better, cheaper company, and we got a cheaper price. And business insurance. Make sure you're covered or you could lose your personal wealth. That's 813-877-7799. ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Noles.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the US Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right. That's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Gettys Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Gettys Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
JP here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez and Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Topper Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Rogers Park Golf Course, new Top Tracer driving range. If you haven't been out there, folks, you're a golfer, you'd like to go hit balls, get some feedback, get that Top Tracer feedback, how far the ball goes. You can also play all the courses, St. Andrews, Pebble Beach, virtually, but you're not hitting into a net. You're hitting it actually into a driving range. So it's really, really cool. Got great food, brand new bays, 10 bays out there, starts at $25 an hour. It's a great deal out at Rogers Park. And of course, they got the great golf course there and the short course, which is really awesome. RogersParkGolf.net is where you go. RogersParkGolf.net. Nick Geddes with me here from On3 Sports as we're going through the college football weekend. So many more storylines to get to. I found this, though. See your man.
Don't call him Mom.
Urban Meyer commenting on University of Florida. I'm going to say I don't think I've ever heard a former coach go this hard in on a current coach. And this is a guy that obviously is, being paid for his opinion on Big Noon Kickoff. But check out this. See if you can hear it.
Because no one's making the coaching staff stay at Florida. If you know what I mean. There's plenty of places where you can go and mediocrity is accepted. And Florida's not one of them. Ohio State's not one of them. And I would always tell myself that, but I would also, as I'm reminding myself that I'd share with our team, saying, I will help you go wherever you want to go. If you don't like, this is too much for you. If it's too much for you, I'll sign your transfer papers right now and you can go. That includes our coaching staff. But as long as you're here, you're expected to be the very best in the country at what you do. If that does not fit your job description, you need to leave. And I'll help you. That does not make you a bad person. Pay your taxes, be a good guy, but get out of here because this is what's expected if you're not the very best in the country at what you do. So that would be my message to the Florida Gators.
Wow. Wow. That seem a little harsh to you?
No, I mean, listen, the amount of money that is being tossed around right now in college athletics and college football in particular, and how much at stake there is at so many different levels. And when you're a program like the University of Florida, and think about how much investment they have made to their football facilities over the last few years. And just the fact that they are one of those true legacy programs and the 3 national championships and everything they've done, Spurrier to Urban Meyer, like the history at Florida is so strong. How can you accept this right now? No. And in this new age of college football where you have the benefit of being in the premier conference in college football, one of the 2 that exist at the moment, like you cannot afford to be down right now to the extent that you are and let everybody else pass you by.
Trying to think back when Spurrier left. It was who? It was Zook after Spurrier?
It was Ron Zook, right? Right after.
Yeah. And then there was somebody after him before Urban Meyer, I believe. Or was Meyer next?
Point being, Urban came right after.
Yeah, point being, they didn't go 3 hiring cycles and go 0 for 3. With as you mentioned, Mullen, McElwain, and I guess now Sunbelt Billy. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. Who am I missing? I'm missing somebody else.
Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen. Who was the
Muschamp. Yeah.
Muschamp, McElwain, and Dan Mullen.
Yeah, Dan Mullen.
And like I said, those three coaches all had some sort of success at Florida, especially Dan Mullen. And I know there's a lot of people, like Florida fans will say, like, I think like he quit on the program. I personally don't know much about that.
I thought it
Enough
was
to
weird
know.
when they fired him. I really did. I thought
I
it was
don't. I don't
I was
know.
like, wow.
I just know that when you go to 3 New Year's Six bowl games in a row, and then you have one season where I think they were 5-6, and then firing him, like on the surface, it looks like, interesting.
Well, Scott Strickland said, I mean, the whole deal there was he's not recruiting. He doesn't want to recruit. He's not recruiting.
And that was true. That was true. He acted like he was still at Mississippi State while he was at Florida. He didn't take advantage of the resources.
It seems to me that I would try to fix that first. You know, like, and maybe they did for 3 years. They were like, hey, man. And there were reports of that. I'd heard that they're like, you got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. And he just wasn't willing to or wasn't very good at it. I don't know which it was. But there was clearly a lot going on behind the scenes that the administration wasn't happy with. But it certainly hasn't gotten better. And, you know, again, great stat that Nikki Numbers came up with. 5th in the nation in the amount of 4 and 5 stars in ratio on their team.
And I do love, by the way, Dan Mullen was he doesn't waste a moment to troll Florida since everything happened, and he immediately retweeted Matt Berry's tweet right after. It said the Florida coach they got fired went to 3 consecutive New Year's Six games in his first 3 years and was let go in his 4th season. And Dan Mullen retweeted that right after the game on Saturday. So clearly, there's no love lost between those two entities.
Yeah. I mean, usually there's a respect level among ex-coaches, analysts, as far as guys that still have jobs. There's no respect for this guy. I mean, it's just they're just piling on.
And yet he's the most successful head coach they've had in the 21st century outside of Urban Meyer.
Yeah, Dan Mullen. I mean, it's weird. The guy won. There's no question about that. But if you can't recruit at the highest level, you're not going to win either. So Jeremy Lowe mentioned this name.
Oh my gosh.
Dion? Oh, I don't know how I feel about that.
He's at his level right now.
You think? Yeah.
I mean, I know that game was on Thursday night. I'm sure you might have talked about it on Friday, but like, does Colorado impress you really outside of the 3 big star players on that team?
No, they don't.
They
don't
drop
have
off.
depth.
The drop off after Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, and Jimmy Horn Jr. is deep.
Nothing there. Yeah. And I'm not seeing any ingenious game planning or game management that's being done there either. And you know, you got coaches leaving. The reports that are coming out of Colorado of what that locker room is like, cash and guns.
No, and then he doesn't recruit.
Bullying.
The one weapon that I thought he had was his ability to, you know, you get Deion Sanders in every one of these kids' households.
Right.
Look at the damage he could do. I know he brought in the left tackle Jordan Seaton, who was a top 10 player in this class, but outside of that, give me the evidence that he is truly doing the best job he possibly can on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, I mean, how can you take $6 million a year and say this is my job to become a college coach, but I'm above traveling around in a private plane and visiting 16 and 17-year-olds at their high school games. Like, I'm not doing that. Well, if you want to play with the big boys, you better do it. Nick Saban did it. Kirby Smart does it. All the big boys do it, but you're not going to do it.
The only thing that would be interesting is, you know, we know Deion and Florida State are sort of like oil and water at the moment.
Right.
For whatever reason. I guess it goes back to 2019 when he felt he should have gotten the job and it didn't happen.
Which is ridiculous.
But I mean, if Deion wants to continue his out of spite thing towards Florida State, how about you go coach Florida? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that, and I think he's probably he's going to look for an exit of Colorado, especially with Shedeur leaving. He's looking for an exit, and you know, if he wins 4 or 5 games this year, who's going to want him? Probably some desperate program will go out there and grab him.
Well, if you want Florida, buzz,
is Florida,
if your desire program is to be talked about on ESPN every single day when they talk about college football, right or wrong, then go get Deion Sanders. But you give me the evidence. I need to see some evidence that the results are going to line up.
Right. And so far, none. Here's an interesting. What about Brent Key, Georgia Tech? Doing a hell of a job, and
he won't be there long if he continues to take Georgia Tech in the right direction.
No, he's certainly outclassed FSU in week 1. That's for damn sure. Tim Haynes says, "How about that? That's how bad the Gator D is." Yeah, it was bad. It was bad last year. James says, "Can you imagine Cam Ward with Mike Norvell? Oh, if only." Jordan G says that wasn't all Cam Ward. There was no pass rush. That's true too. He had all, although there was. I mean, he moves pretty well. He makes it look like there's no pass rush. He really, really does move well back there. He's hard to get to, and he can throw off platform. He throws sidearm. He can throw very Mahomes-esque in the way he can move around back there. Seems Cristobal taking recruiting more serious than the Knowles in the trenches and at linebacker, says James.
This is a great point that I've been on. I'm telling you, JP, that, I mean, Randy Shannon, you would agree with me, should not be on the Florida State coaching staff.
No.
He is not recruited well at linebacker. And Odell Haggins, for as much as we love the legacy there, Odell Haggins' strength has always been he could take a 3-star and get the absolute best out of him. But I don't think Odell Haggins in a long time has recruited on the defensive line the level you need to at Florida State. I think these are
two guys into the NFL, and Jared Verse and Brandon Fisk. But these
were transfers. I'm talking about recruiting. Right. Yeah, Miami's recruiting on the defensive line has been fantastic under Cristobal.
Yeah. No, I would agree. Jordan G says, dial up some damn blitz packages. That was the saddest line play defensively and offense I've seen in many years. Then Lagway had to run for his life as well. And DJ Lagway, is he the future? Do you just go ahead and turn the keys over to him? With that offensive line, I don't know. Jim Barron says Tim Tebow is available. That's an interesting take. I think it's an interesting take. I think Tim Tebow, first of all, Tim Tebow's going into every house he can go into. He's not big time in recruits. He's not.
Yeah.
Now, what's his acumen in terms of coaching? I would rather see him go coach at maybe a lower level than Florida. But
Florida can't. I don't think Florida can afford to take a risk of that right now. Like I said, they need to go big game hunting and get. It doesn't need to be some coordinator from a school or a guy who was coaching at the highest level in the Sun Belt or something like that. They've got to get something a lot more proven.
I would agree. Is there some place down the line for a Tim Tebow as a coach? Yeah, but I think I'd rather see what he can do, at a lower level first. James says, Knowles are in trouble versus Canes in Miami. I would take 9-3 as we speak. I would too. FSU with 9 wins right now? Hell yeah, I'd take that. What else we got here in the comments? Jordan G says, LOL, I saw them going after our recruits, Nick. Wait until they see the joke location the U plays in, not even close to the swamp environment, even in an L. That's the thing that Miami's always going to struggle with. They're always going to struggle with. They might get some good, let's just say what it is. Cam Ward's putting them over the top this year.
Yeah.
You got to be able to recruit everything. And I just don't think they're ever going to get the best recruits in that environment that they play in.
Well, they already have started getting the best recruits, honestly, and they just had a top 5 class. But I think their fan base, is it appropriate to say they could be a front running program at times, even though the location is just not great for the stadium, and we get all that. So it'll be interesting to see now that they are that team. Does attendance pick up this season?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean there are front runners. The fans down there, when they win, they show up, but only for big games.
That's true for all the Miami teams down there.
Yeah. Too. Oh, absolutely.
That's not
100%.
Exclusive to just the university.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeremy reminded me, Urban was right after Zook. They haven't gone this long with this much futility in a while. But like you said, they were winning New Year's 6 games with Mullen.
Yeah. James did put this here because we were talking about Lane Kiffin a little bit. He said Gators' job is a dream job. They can go after the best coach available and pay whatever they want. They swung and missed with Napier. Next year, who knows? They can hire the Oregon coach or best available. And of course, he's mentioning Dan Lanning, who Dan Lanning, from if you believe everything, turned down the chance to maybe go to Alabama.
Yeah.
So if you're turning down Alabama, Are you really looking at Florida?
Yeah, I think Dan Lanning feels like he can stay at Oregon and win the Big Ten every year. He doesn't want to go back to the SEC
Right.
because
And that's
too
a situation where you can always have a top recruiting class at Oregon.
There you go. Gruden brothers are available from Christopher Cole.
File that one under the Jimbo Fisher tier here of this list.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Take a closer look at the records. Anything else here we want to get to? FSU versus Boston College. Who you picking today? I'm picking FSU to win the game, but Boston College to cover the 17. And I think if you're willing to risk some money, I would play Boston College on the money line. I think you're getting great odds at 17.
Yeah.
There's no way FSU should be a 17-point favorite over a team like Boston College, who took them to the wire last year and has a quarterback that FSU couldn't tackle last year. That great defense. This defense, I don't know.
In Boston College, even with some really good Florida State teams, has always been that team that just gives them fits.
Yeah.
They just always, for whatever reason, Boston College, Florida State is always a very close game. The 17-point line is outrageous to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely outrageous.
From what we saw in week one. And,
I think it's going to be decided by a score or less, a 7 or less.
This is evident to me after week one of what I saw. All those guys that Florida State lost, when you go 13-0, there's a reason they went 13-0. It's just, look at those guys. Those guys were playmakers. Trey Benson, Jordan Travis, they bailed their ass out so many times. Jared Verse, Fisk. All those guys. Those Tatum Bethune, a linebacker that could actually tackle. Those guys.
Yeah, who just made an NFL roster as an undrafted free agent.
All those guys. Kalen DeLoach, they're playmakers. These guys, we'll see. Right now, you got a lot of plays that they ain't making. And I'm terrified about tonight if you're an FSU fan.
And
it could get really ugly.
And
by the way, can we stop, like Joe Tessitore, talking about the Georgia culture and they weren't playing for it. They could have been bitching about the snub, not getting into the playoff and all that. It's just so disingenuous from somebody from ESPN to talk that shit. You know damn well what happened at Florida State. It was different than not just getting in. Georgia didn't get an unprecedented snub. Georgia didn't win all their games. They lost, and they lost at the most inopportune time. FSU did everything they were asked to do, and they got snubbed for political reasons, and the players knew it, and that's why they weren't showing up to play for ESPN. So shut the F up, Joe Tessitore, about your passive aggressive shots at FSU.
I love Joe Tessitore.
I'm not a fan. Never have been.
I love Joe Tessitore. He's, by the way,
the two of them, Jesse. The two of them. No,
you're going to be delighted to hear then that Joe Tessitore is going to be the new announcer of Monday Night Raw.
Oh, good.
On wrestling, so he's making his way to my
good.
End.
Stay over there. Stay over there.
Hey, but by the way, you did just because you mentioned Georgia. I bring them up because you said you were going to get to what you believe is the best team in the nation.
Yes.
After week one.
Yeah. Georgia.
It's Georgia.
It's Georgia.
The dogs are
Carson Beck is an NFL quarterback. They've got NFL players all over the field. Their secondary is ridiculous.
And they cloned Lag McConkey. This dude, London Humphreys, who they got from the transfer portal from Vanderbilt, by the way. Yeah. Vanderbilt. Like, how do they – I'm just going to say this. How does Georgia just get the most athletic white dudes ever on offense? Like, even the white dudes they have on offense.
Well, according to Roddy White, Clemson can't win anymore because they got too many white dudes.
I know, and Roddy took a lot of heat for that, and maybe he shouldn't have tweeted it, but, like, sometimes, like, let's just be honest. Like, we do think of it sometimes. It's just a conscious thing. Like, but Georgia, it's like they won
some national championships with some of those white boys, too.
Right. So, it's not like an all or nothing thing, but I'm just mainly pointing out that London Humphreys is just moving all over that field like Lad McConkey did.
Yeah.
And then you augment that with everything else. I mean, they've lost 2 games since 2021, and both were to Nick Saban in Alabama.
It's crazy.
Like
They're
until
so
somebody
good.
proves they can beat this team, how can you bet against them?
You can't. You can't. That's the best team I saw this weekend. No question about it. Notre Dame beating Texas A&M. That was a great defensive game. That was a great atmosphere, well played game. And in the end, Notre Dame's running game just bullied Texas A&M, just bullied them in the fourth quarter. They just handed the ball off and said, go. That was a really interesting game. And I don't think Connor Wegman I'm
still waiting.
Texas A&M quarterback. There. I see nothing there. He's just a thrower. He's a good athlete that can run and throw the ball. He's not making great reads. He's not getting to his secondary reads. He's not that there's nothing there that I saw. But Notre Dame with Riley Leonard, that's an interesting team. When you look at their schedule, they got FSU at home. I don't think that's going to be troublesome for them.
No, they just got to make it all the way to USC in the final game.
Yeah.
I think that's really it.
Yeah, that was their big home. Texas looked good. Quinn Ewers looked great. You see that no-look pass from him? Mm-hmm. Looked really, really good. Texas is an interesting team, but, you got to play somebody. USC might be interesting. Their quarterback Miller looked really, really good.
That was a great quarterback battle last night.
Yeah.
Contrary to what Brian Kelly said, where he flat out said their quarterback outplayed ours, which I thought was – I'm not sure why he said that because I think we all saw Garrett Nussmeier played really well.
I thought he played really well
in that football game. I thought both quarterbacks played great in that game. So I'm not sure why he said that. But Miller Moss proved that the bowl game was not exactly a fluke.
Yeah.
And Lincoln Riley looks like, it's week 1, but it looks like he's nailed the DC hire. Yeah, absolutely. They're so much better on the defense. And the LSU is just kind of an enigma under Brian Kelly. He's kind of there. This is 3 straight opening losses for him, 2 to FSU, and then now this one to USC. And he wasn't very happy about it last night. Let's hear the from an irate Brian Kelly. And I do not detect the Cajun accent here.
We're sitting here again talking about the same things. About not finishing when you have an opponent in a position to put them away. But what we're doing on the sideline is feeling like the game's over. And I'm so angry about it that I got to do something about it. I'm not doing a good enough job as a coach. And I got to coach him better because it's unacceptable for us not to have found a way to win this football game. It's ridiculous.
He's a little bit better than Napier with the water bottle as well. Oh, we didn't play the Napier yet. We got to play that too.
I was going to say though, I don't know if it's just being that whole little rant there just sounded very manufactured. It's I
love the passive aggressive after you rip your team and then go, it's my fault.
The way he slammed the table looked like he missed his cue to do it earlier in the quote, and then it came a little late. And he's trying to get fired up, but it's not really firing me up, to be honest with you.
No, it looks like you're throwing your team under the bus, and then the second, but it's my fault. I got to coach him better. We don't step on their neck. We didn't, we're acting like the game's over. I got to coach him better.
He's a really good coach. Did great things at Notre Dame. But
Is he? I hear a lot of people in the business that think Brian Kelly's a fraud. And
I was going to say, name me the landmark win that he has. I think he beat Alabama maybe his first year at LSU, if I'm not mistaken. But we saw so many times where Notre Dame would get to the end of the season in the playoff and they would just will.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot of Jimbo Fisher in him, to be quite honest. Not authentic players. I don't see great coaching in Brian Kelly at all. I just don't. Do we have the before we get to Pat, we might have to take a quick break here. Do we have we'll play Sunbelt Billy later. You want to do that?
Yeah, I can. I can pull it up real quick. I had it right here in front of me.
Let's go. Here we go.
Let me share the screen here. Yeah, this one starts with the question, but keep your eye a little lower where his hands are there.
Yeah,
this is so mean.
Experience and how confident you were in this team going into the season. Just how disappointing and surprising was this performance?
Yeah, it's embarrassing, to be quite honest with you.
You cut me off.
Oh no,
Me off.
we got to the good part. It is embarrassing.
I know it goes on for like longer. It's like 45 seconds of him literally trying to like unscrew that bottle cap as he's talking about how embarrassing the performance was on Saturday.
Water bottle wins. Water bottle wins.
Water bottle wins.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Patrick Burnham's going to join us from the Osceola Rivals Network and talk a little Florida State. I have some very interesting questions. I want to find out what's going on at practice this week. Is this team ready to play tonight? Are they bringing the intensity? Let's find out. Quick break. We're brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. If you want to get your testosterone right, get your nutrition right, get your workouts right, all that. Get the personal attention you deserve from Bay Area Modern Medical Center as your primary care physician. They think out of the box, and they'll do things and spend time with you that your other doctor will not. So get that appointment. Just go to BAMMC.com. You can make the appointment right there on the website. Back at 3 with Pat Burnham. Stay with us. Hey, it's football season, and we welcome back the Gator Report every Monday and Friday, sponsored by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Just go to the website. You can contact them through there. Scott Jeeves is a tremendous, aggressive attorney and a big Gator fan, so we appreciate him supporting this show and, of course, your Florida Gators. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. Whether it's personal injury or anything else, any law matter at all, it's the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Give them a call. Tell them JP sent you. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. JP here to ask the question, are you planning an event, meeting, or conference? If so, you'll want to call the designers and production professionals at Extravaganza Productions Incorporated. With over 35 years of experience in the events industry, designing and producing every type of small to large event, they can provide a huge resource for design ideas, audio, visual, sound, lighting, decor, and entertainment to turn your event into an incredible experience for the entire audience. Folks, I've worked up close and personal with this group at many national events and Tampa events, and they have unique capabilities that help you save time and money in the planning and execution of your next event. Don't delay. Call these pros today at 813-621-4700 or check out their website at extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you, and they'll provide a free initial consultation for your event. Extravaganza Productions, the best of the business. Golfers, listen up. The hottest new driving range craze has come to Rogers Park in Tampa. The Top Tracer range is now open 10 to 9 p.m. And just like you see on TV, every shot is tracked for yardage and accuracy, giving you immediate feedback. And best of all, you can virtually play the top courses like Pebble Beach or St. Andrews with your buddies. Plus, great food and drink options available in the well-appointed hitting bays. Very comfortable out there. Reservations highly recommended, starting at $25 per hour, including balls. Reserve at RogersParkGolf.net. That's RogersParkGolf.net. See you there.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show on this college football Monday. We got a game tonight, pretty damn big for Florida State, and it's an incredible weekend of college football, and it is on. The NFL is starting up. We're going to get you a report from Bucs practice, so lots to get to here on the JP Peterson Show. In our second hour, we'll be talking some USF football as well. Big win for them over the weekend. We got some Bulls in the chat already talking about going to Alabama and winning. Okay, all right. Yeah, we shall see. I'd love to see it. And we bring in Pat Burnham, knows a little bit about USF. What's up, my friend?
Yeah, man, doing great. A little bit under the weather, but I'm going to fight on and try to remain unconquered. And with a little luck of the Irish, whatever I've got will run through me like a hurricane through the swamp. So
Oh, wow. That was one hell of an open right there, brother.
I try.
Wow.
I'm still bringing it, JP. I can't.
Yes, you are.
You gotta be ready, mentally prepared for game day, even when you don't feel well. But yeah, listen.
That's right. That's right.
Great first full weekend of college football. The games y'all were talking about early, and of course,
Your
the
thoughts.
Your
thoughts. What jumped out at you? The Miami Florida game.
Well, Miami's as good as everybody said they were. We heard a lot of different things, but they go into the swamp, manhandle Florida, who, quite frankly, is not very good on the offensive line. But listen, Miami is a very physical football team, and that kid Cam Ward is as good as advertised through one game. And listen, I felt that optic you guys showed of Billy trying to get that water bottle open was not the best optic to have after that game. That would have been not even noticed had they won the ball game. Now that's going to be a meme. And then Brian Kelly, I agree with exactly what Nick said. That was manufactured. That was the weakest table slam of all time. I think the one thing we've learned after those two press conferences, those two coaches need more time in the weight room. We've got to have a more physical slam, and we've got to be able to get a water bottle open. Now, maybe, we've got to be able to do these things. I know it's only week one, but shit, what are we doing?
Oh my God, it is so funny. And if we wouldn't have seen if the ad wouldn't have come up, you'd have seen him for 45 seconds.
I felt so bad for him. I really did.
We've all been there.
Yeah,
like there's one water bottle that just ain't gonna open, and you're like in front of your wife or your girlfriend, and you're like, "Oh God, this is embarrassing." But he's in front of the whole world after getting his ass slapped by Miami in his own crib. Man, that's poor fella. And I don't know if you heard the Urban Meyer rant that he went on of I don't think I've ever seen a coach that's on a big show like that go after a current coach, especially one where he's been the coach at University of Florida. Saying you're not good enough, get the hell out of here. Just get the hell out of here. That was gross. Well,
listen, I don't know what you've heard from Gainesville, but I heard several times over this summer that Urban wants that job back if they'll hire him. So there's a reason for what he's doing.
They can't do that.
Listen, I've talked to two former Florida players who said he is camping out in Gainesville, and they don't think it'll happen, but there's a reason behind all that.
Well, they're going to go through an entire overhaul. The president's gone, leaving behind a trail of corruption. Well done, Ben Sass. I can't believe Strickland's too long for this job.
and I think that's one of the reasons that Billy may have a chance to survive this, unless it's just an absolute 3-9, 4-8 type of season. Listen, first of all, there's 26.7 million reasons he may come back next year, regardless of what happens. Be the second largest buyout in college football history.
That's close to Willie's.
Next to Jimbo. Yeah, Willie was 18, I believe.
Well, the buyout was. That's right. We ended up paying him like $26 million for 18 months.
So listen, we'll see what happens, but not a great start for Florida, and a really great start for Miami. And I think you look at Miami's schedule, and listen, we got week one under our belts. We'll see what happens as these teams continue to grow. But you look at their schedule, they really, at least at face value, don't have anybody that should challenge them until they get to Louisville and Florida State, which are the back-to-back games. But we got to see what Louisville and Florida State are all about.
Yeah. Speaking of which, get your take on what you saw in Dublin. One of the things I saw with my own two eyes and being able to watch the sideline while you guys were watching it on TV is there was just very little fire and emotion. I said it on Twitter. We played like we were getting paid to play, and they were playing for something a little bit bigger, like FSU played last year. There wasn't that feel of fire and intensity and competitiveness. Looked like a bunch of mercenaries out there that didn't know what they were doing. The tackling was just dreadful. I thought the coaching adjustments were non-existent.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a whole lot of bad. It's a whole lot of bad, and you got just a few days and a long flight to come back and play against a Boston College team this is their freaking Super Bowl, with Bill O'Brien coming in here as the new coach and a quarterback that we couldn't tackle last year. It's a whole lot of bad, Pat. It's a whole lot of bad.
Yeah, I think everyone's surprised at what they saw particularly with FSU getting physically dominated. And you and I've talked about it already. I think Georgia Tech was the more prepared football team, the more physical football team, and the more well-coached football team, and quite frankly, the better football team that particular day. And listen, we can sit around and even the energy at all these coaches taught during the course of the week. We heard some things that started to vaguely sound like excuses from the staff. Mike started in his press conference on Monday or Tuesday, whenever he had it. He started mentioning logistics of the challenge of the logistics of that trip, and then kind of caught himself and rolled it back. And we've heard coaches talk about why the rep distribution was the way it was. And, we've heard JP Pappy just talk about why Sione Lalehi didn't play more is because they were going every other series is how he and MJJ were supposed to split it out. Well, listen, you just don't play when somebody's not playing well. You don't give them till the end of that series to get them out. No, you get them out then. Right. It's just like it's baffling that they did not play any of the backup defensive tackles more than they did, particularly KJ Sampson and Tommy Durajay, who got 0 snaps in this game. Meanwhile, you got two starting defensive tackles getting rolled off the ball every play. So listen, a lot of questions still about this football team going into this game. I don't think it's going to get any easier for Mike Norvell and Adam Fuller when it comes to battle of the pencils. You've got a really good game planner and play caller in Bill O'Brien, who's got a staff that's sprinkled with a lot of guys with NFL experience. So they're used to creating game plans on a weekly basis because in NFL, JP, as you well know better than I do, you can't come in with the same scheme every week. You got to change it up a little. Yep. You've got Tim Lewis, who's a longtime defensive coordinator, defensive coach at NFL, as their defensive coordinator at BC. So I think the coaching matchup is going to be intriguing. Listen, Mike has usually got the advantage on anybody he's calling plays against. I think he's one of the better play callers in the United States in college football, but he certainly, they didn't have any answers for Georgia Tech this week. And then you got Bill O'Brien going against Adam Fuller. Boston College has the benefit of tape, right? Yep. That's the one advantage they have, and they also hold the advantage of the unknown, right? Because Florida State has no idea I think they know what to expect on offense. I think they're going to see a lot of what Georgia Tech did to them: motions, eye candy, all that stuff, misdirection, boot passes. I think they'll see all that. I don't think they have any idea to know what they're going to see from the defense, other than Tim Lewis is reportedly a more aggressive guy than Hafley was last year. It's more of a even-based defense as opposed to an odd-based defense. But I don't think Mike and his staff are quite sure what they're going to see. So in-game adjustments are going to be critical in this game, because I think it's going to be a very, very tight game. I don't see how anybody has watched the Georgia Tech game versus Florida State's game against Georgia Tech can sit there and say this is a 16.5-point favorite. Now, if we're talking about reputations of a school and the fact that they have 3 national championships, the Boston College's 0 and 3 Heismans, the BC's 1, and all those things, yes. But what this
year,
it's about this Florida State team, right? I mean, and what they've put down on paper, the evidence we have on them right now is not that great. So I think it's going to be and listen, we didn't put that tape down; they did.
That's right.
Listen, I think it's going to be a tight game. I've got it as a 2-point game, and listen, I think the offensive and defensive line for Florida State, they've got to show up, right? I mean,
they do.
And listen,
they do.
They've heard people talk bad about them all week. You got to hope that gets them pissed off and their backs against the wall, and they're tired of hearing me talk, you talk, everybody else is talking about them. But I loved your point about what you were talking about earlier, and I cannot remember who said it, but there was a tweet last week after the Georgia Tech game, and a guy said, Verse, Fisk, Bethune, Tatum, Deloach, et al., Jordan Travis, Keon Coleman, they played like they were hungry.
Yep.
These guys on this past Saturday played like they were overfed. And that was probably the best analogy I've heard. And I wish I could remember off the top of my head who said that. And I tried to say it in a different way, but he said it much more succinctly and much more directly. And listen, they've got to show up. They got to be hungry. They should be hungry. on paper, Florida State should be the better team when it comes to playing Boston College. They should be deeper. They should be longer, taller, more athletic. Again, we've heard Mike Norvell say in preseason that this is the fastest, strongest, most explosive team he's had when it comes to their weight room measurements, their catapult measurements. Listen, does that carry weight into the season? I don't know. Once you put on the pads, it's about football. It's not about how fast you run the 40 and how much you bench press. And I mean, all that's important. Don't get me wrong, but that stuff does not win football games. So listen, the offensive and defensive lines have to show up. JP, we're going to see a repeat performance of what we did last week.
And we know that there's going to be a big challenge to contain Tommy Castellanos, who we know is one of the best moving. I think he led the entire FBS in rushing yards by a quarterback last year, I think.
I believe that is correct.
Yeah, so obviously the emphasis is going to turn again to that defensive line and that linebacking core. And I ask you about the linebacking because, I think it's pretty hard, and I hate to single out one player because everybody had an off day, but
I think everybody knows who you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard, Omar Graham, to play 35 snaps and not get your name on the box score once. And you had many plays. I know you went back and rewatched the tape and everything where it just seemed like he had no idea at times, like he was turned around. And that was across the board. But I single out Omar Graham. I believe they made a change to the depth chart, right? How do you see that playing out here in this one?
Well, I definitely think that, if I'm Florida State's coaches, we know DJ Lundy is what he is, right? I mean, he's going to be solid, but not great. He's more of a 4-3 middle linebacker. He's not really your prototypical 4-2-5 guy that can play sideline to sideline, can play against the run, can play against the pass, and that's really what you need in the 4-2-5 scheme. Listen, after watching the film, I was one of the bright spots at the linebacker core I thought was Blake Nicholson. Particularly, he did some good things where in the 4-3 where they lined him up at Sam and he put his hat on the tight end coming off the line of scrimmage. Cam Riley's a late addition, didn't get into camp and didn't get to school until this summer. So he's got to have more reps. But I agree with you. Listen, I think I don't know how much better the linebacker play can get. And I think you guys probably have the same question. I mean, is that going to be the Achilles heel of this football team? And obviously they've already made a change at safety, at the free safety position with Hussey coming in for Devontae Brown, which was an interesting take, I thought, in the offseason, especially after Hussey flashed during the course of last season. But I just don't know how good the linebackers are going to be this year, and I don't know how much better they can get. I think Nicholson's got a bright future, but you're right.
He's got to play.
I mean, and I'd rather live with his mistakes, knowing that they're going to be a payoff to it down the road, either later this year or next year, than I would seeing what we saw. And listen, some of this is on the coaches. It was poor eye discipline by the linebackers. You go back to that first touchdown, and which was a terrible alignment that they called, and I'm sure it had to be a misalignment. There's no way you have two B gap defenders and both your A gap defenders are 4 yards off the ball. And so I think I have to think that at least one of those defensive tackles was supposed to line up in one of the A gaps. Which one, I don't know, because they did it the next goal line series. But if you watch that, they bring a motion from the boundary to the field, and the safety or corner, whoever's lined up on him, runs with him. And then you've got the linebackers, for whatever reason, who are not running with them, based on what you saw, they both ran with the eye candy, and they both went to the left, and then the quarterback went to his left. So they weren't there when the quarterback, and it was easy pickings, but
easy.
Yes. So, and listen, multiple times that you saw all of the linebackers, particularly 10 and 9, out of position, overrunning the play, not there for the fallback, you got two linebackers outside of where the running back is going to cut back, and one of them's got to be there for the cutback, unless the safety's got it. And listen, that's going to be a call by call thing. But listen, even the motion was throwing off where it's kind of one of those things that just roll downhill, right? The defensive line's getting blown off the ball, which affects the linebackers, and where the linebackers fit affects where the safety fits, whoever the eraser is. But whatever it is.
Yeah, we'll have two safeties, 12 yards off the ball.
It's got to get better.
Of the game. Yeah, it's just, when they're running the ball down your throat. I didn't get that.
I mean, we're paying this. What is Adam Fuller's making over $1 million a year? And I mean, he's got what he puts out on the field. And listen, I think this was a player's effort great last week. No, but nope. I didn't think they got a lot of help on the sidelines,
nope,
which is a rarity for a Mike Norvell,
particularly
offensive football team.
Yeah, at the half, I'm thinking, okay, you tied it up. Now here come the great halftime adjustments that Mike's known for. This is a second half team, and it was anything but. It was anything but. That's what's so weird about this performance is it was so just absolutely opposite of everything we expected. I mean, a lot of those offensive linemen played last year. Yep. And so what the hell happened there?
Well, listen, I said last year that I thought the offensive line was a little overrated. I think Jordan Travis bailed him out of a lot of things. I remember, and what you're finding out is there's no Jordan Travis back there.
There's no Trey Benson.
No, there's none of that either. And listen, we thought those backs were going to be good. Listen, Toa Feely, I mean, I would like to see him line up in the slot more so they have a legitimate receiver and somebody that's been in the system and they can trust. But especially if you feel like Roydell and Jalen Lucas, who's got to get the ball more than 3 times in a game, got to get more than 7 snaps. That was
crazy.
I can't remember what it was Mike or somebody else on the offensive staff addressed that. So that was they got to get him more in the game more, and that's shit. If you're at practice and you watch what that kid does in practice, he's arguably the most explosive playmaker they have on the offensive side of the ball, yet you get him 7 snaps, 3 of which came in, I believe, the first 2 series. I think 6 of his 7 plays came in the first half. I think he was in for 1 play in the second half.
How is that? Is that have anything to do with, and not the play calling, but Alex Atkins not being there?
I don't know, man.
What effect do you think that has? He's the offensive line coach, quote OC, that's suspended for 3 games for ridiculous.
Well, I think when you're trying to get all 5 of your running backs playing time, which does not make sense to me. We saw, Cam Davis dropped a very easy pass. I'm sure there were some nerves involved in that as a true freshman running back playing in his first game. But listen, if you're trying to sub 5 guys in at one spot, it's going to get confusing. But here, JP, Alex, do I think that had anything to do with rep distribution? No. They have these staffs are stocked with people. They've got analysts after analysts. And I do know for a fact that there are analysts on that staff who are responsible for rep count.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why you would base it off number of plays. I think you base it off, is somebody gassed? If they're gassed after 4 plays, we get in after 4 out after 4 plays. If they're gassed after 8 plays, they play 8 plays. And then if they're not playing good, we pull it. I mean, I don't understand this formulated rep count. It should be based on what's happening on the field. So you got to get Jalen Lucas in the game. They got to be more aggressive on offense. With DJU, he's what you got. He's who you're playing, and you cannot be one-dimensional. Not this particular football team. Not what we saw on last Saturday. But I think they've got to be more aggressive. Now, I don't think he's got to throw the ball 50 times a game. I'm not saying that, but I think you got to
push it downfield at some point.
Some shots, and even if it's Jaylen Brown and Malik Benson, even if you're overthrowing them, it loosens up the defense, right? Because we know they're going to take a shot. It's going to cause at least one of the safeties, if not both of them, to stay back. So I think they've got to be more aggressive in their play calling. At some point this year, it will come down to whether DJU can throw them to a win. I mean, the schedule's too tough. There's too many things that are going to happen during the course of a year. They're going to get shut down. They could get. I'm not going to say they will. They could get shut down in the running game like they did against Georgia Tech again. And if you can't throw the ball, you're screwed. I think they've got to be more aggressive. I think Mike will be more aggressive. I think they'll play. I would think there would be fewer missed assignments in this game. But listen, I think if you go back and watch the film, I just how much improvement can they make? Right? We think they'll be better. I think they'll be better, but how much better? And you go back, and I've watched that game 3 times, and
they could have won it easily with a couple of more plays here and there. It wasn't like they were, blown out, and they just can play so much better.
Well, listen, if you watch the game and then you go look at the final score, you're like, well, that's not the final score of the game I just watched. I mean, there's no way that it was a 3-point game. So you're right about that. They did keep it close. And listen, you can't take any away from the fact that they did have 8 special teams points, which was the reason they were in the game in the first place. But I just don't know how many times you can count on 2 52-plus yard field goals to keep you in the ball game. And maybe you can. Listen, these clock rules, these games are speeding up.
I know.
I would love to see what the number of possessions is. I think it was Brown 13 possessions per team last year.
FSU had 7 in that game, right?
And I think now what we're seeing is more this year is more 10 possession games where both teams are getting the ball 10 times. Listen, they're going to change the NFL rules. People are going to go start to watch NFL football. Listen, 55 plays is I don't want to spend 3.5 hours watching 55 plays. I got other things I can do with my time. That's why I don't watch NFL football very much. I watch it on the red zone.
Well, that game from sitting in the stands, I don't know what it's like watching on TV, but those breaks were insufferable, bro. Are you talking like 4.5-minute breaks?
Oh, they slowed it down at the end. It's like we were on like record pace to get out in like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Sort of how an NFL game is. And then the last 2 minutes, we had a little bit of a commercial marathon a little bit.
It's like the end of a basketball game now.
Yeah, it dragged it out an extra 30 minutes than it probably should have been.
Yeah, listen, you got to get rid of – and all right, so if we're going to do that, all right, so there are multiple 3-minute timeouts, TV timeouts in the game, 3 minutes and 10 seconds to be exact. And there's a certain number that they have to have. There's a certain number of 2 minute, 2.5 or 2:45. Anyway.
Yeah, there's no 2 minutes.
Let's get rid of halftime. Let's quit Let's quit taking away from the product on the field. Either shorten the commercials, have in-game commercials, or get rid of halftime so that you can speed it up. I love the bands and all that stuff, but that's 20 minutes. That's a 20-minute halftime. So you're talking about between halftime and the timeouts in the first half. And I think there's 4 3-minute and 10-second commercials in a game. And I think so you're talking about almost over 30 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes worth of commercials in the first half of a ball game.
Exactly. It was brutal.
Between halftime. So and I'm all for
a lot of beer. I could tell you that. And they're selling tons of Guinness in the stadium, but it's like, I mean, it was tough. All right, so to kind of wrap this up, Pat, tonight here comes Boston College. The stadium has been reconfigured. It looks like there's a first deck on the alumni side. Yeah. It looks weird. Hopefully, there's energy in the stadium. We're expecting a packed house here on a Monday night. I mean, this should be, and this team needs that energy from the fans. Are we gonna? What's the atmosphere like in Tallahassee?
Yeah, it's supposed to be sellout. I don't know. I think the capacity is like 55 or 60 now, JP. I think that upper deck being shut down.
Wow.
On the alumni side, and obviously the temporary bleachers on the alumni side. I think that side of the stadium has been reduced to 7,500 seats, if I'm correct. So it'll be a market difference. But listen, I do think this is as far as a positive for FSU, no matter how many people are there. If it's not going to look full because you've seen the pictures. It's not nothing but brick.
It's going to look weird.
But, it's going to look very strange. But I do think that obviously, I put in my little prediction thing that I think FSU one of the things that could be a game changer for Florida State is home field advantage. Listen, they had home field advantage in Dublin based off everything everybody's told me. But listen,
it was loud.
I would think Doak Campbell Stadium would probably be a little bit louder than Aviva just based on what I saw. I mean, it seems to be a little bit more closed in. But I think that could be a difference maker. I think the heat could be a difference maker. It's going to be unbelievably hot here. I did talk with a guy that covers Boston College earlier in the week, and he said it's been pretty hot up there. He kind of made it sound like he didn't give me an actual temperature. Yeah. So that made me doubt.
That's not hot.
Yeah. So I think that could work to their advantage. I think they got some things that can help them, but going to have to play much, much better not to be 0-2 at the end of this night.
All right, Pat, tell the folks how they can get all your content today and as the week goes on.
Yeah, go to theosceola.com or floridastate.rivals.com. I've got my scouting report up on the site. We've got our keys to a Florida State win, where the entire staff offers 2 keys to Florida State victory over Boston College. We've got our recruiting report on the kids that are planning to attend this game. That's on the site. So please go to theosceola.com or floridastate.rivals.com and check us out.
All right, partner. Great stuff as always. Enjoy the game tonight. Wish I could be there, but we will be rooting you on here down in the Tampa area. Thanks, man.
Yeah, y'all have fun, man, and have fun talking to USF football. They got big things coming this year, I think.
I think they do. Yeah, that was a big, nice win for them, and then they'll get step up in class this week for sure.
Yeah, let's take it easy on the Alabama talk.
Hey, that was goalish. Somebody said you got to play Miami and Alabama, and he goes, well, they got to play South Florida. I'm like, okay.
Well, I mean,
okay.
We beat Auburn when I was at USF, and
that's right.
So you don't ever know. Get to shoot your shot.
That's right. Beat FSU too. Yeah. All
right.
Right. Thanks, Pat. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Great, Pat Burnham right there from the Osceola Rivals Network. They just got to get the dub tonight, and if they don't, part of all the crap that went down last year. Now FSU's got this, and FSU fans have this reputation as being whiny crybabies, and I think if it had happened to any other program, they'd react the same day.
That's what I said. It's funny how people get on their soapbox about how Florida State reacted, and I think every other program would have done the same thing, because that's college football. Every fan base is rabid. Every single one of them.
Oh, but Georgia didn't. Come on. Georgia, they're the back-to-back national champions. They've had their day, and ESPN kisses their ass all the freaking time. And not every player played, so shut up, Joe Tessitore. Shut up. All right, quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk some USF. We'll hopefully get to some of the Cristobal stuff as well. And if we get that full clip in, I will watch that Sunbelt Billy versus the water bottle as well. Lots more to get to here, and a Bucks update as well. We're brought to you by the Gold and Diamond Source Men. That is a place for you as well. It's not just for shopping for the ladies. Listen, go in there and get her something nice. Don't get me wrong, but while you're there, pick up something for you. Maybe some shiny cufflinks, tie tacks, watches. They've got a great selection of baller watches there, from Breitling to Tag to all the Rolex, all the good stuff. So go check that out, their watch selection and all the men's jewelry that they have at the Gold and Diamond Source. Not just for the ladies, but for you guys too. 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldanddiamondsource.com. Back in 3. Stay with us. Celebrate August with the dazzling green hue of Peridot, known for its vibrant and refreshing sparkle. Yes, that's the birthstone of August at the Gold and Diamond Source. Explore the Gold and Diamond Source's stunning collection of Peridot jewelry, showcasing the gemstone's unique glow and versatility in rings, necklaces, and earrings. Peridot's distinctive color makes it a standout choice for any occasion, adding a touch of elegance and charm to your ensemble. Enjoy 15% off when you shop August Gems online only. Stop by the Gold and Diamond Source to experience the allure of August Gem and let their expert staff help you find the perfect Peridot piece. It's the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldanddiamondsource.com. Hey, it's football season, so we welcome back the FSU Football Report every Monday and Friday on the J.P. Peterson Show, sponsored by those huge FSU fans at Italiano Insurance. They'll save you money as well. Just do a quick insurance checkup, 813-877-7799. They just saved me $500 on homeowners insurance. Who's doing that? Yeah, they just shopped it around, found a better, cheaper company, and we got a cheaper price. And business insurance. Make sure you're covered or you could lose your personal wealth. That's 813-877-7799. ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Noles.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the US Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right, that's WWE. working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Gettys Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Gettys Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
JP here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units, and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez in Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Topper Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this Cottage Football Monday. No days off, Nick Geddes. No days off.
None.
We're here, bringing it to you. And we're brought to you by our great sponsors, the Gettys Gordon Group. If you're looking for a home, hey, yes, we said this. We've been telling you this is going to happen, right? Interest rates are creeping down. Now, more inventory on the market, but these prices are going to go up. They're going to go up. So before they go through the roof again, get the house that you want now, maybe pay a little bit extra in the interest, and you can refinance down the road. But get the house you want for the price you want. You can still do that at the Gettys Gordon Group. Call Jane Gettys and their group over there. Just go to the gettysgordongroup.com and get all the information there and tell them JP sent you. Good time to jump back in the market for sure. All right, let's do a couple of comments here if we can. Nick? Mark Rogers said, I agree. I was in Dublin last week also. I took BC with the spread. No way the team that played last week beats any D1 program by more than 2 touchdowns. Hope I'm wrong. There's always could be a very big difference between week 1 and week 2, so we will see. James says the podcast you and Pat and the recruiting guy, that B-Fish, was really, really good. Yeah, check that out. We're going to do that each and every Tuesday on the Osceola Network. You can find it there. I'll put it on my socials as well. This week we're going to do it on Thursday with the Monday game, so you can check that out. You never know how players react to money. We found out a little bit in Dublin. Let's see if the Knowles have an ounce of character. We will see. Meets McGee's all over my dual stadium idea. He was watching last week's show. How do we get behind the dual stadium idea? We can find someone create an AI rendering of the idea. That's an interesting thought. How would I go about doing that? I get an AI rendering. You go to ChatGPT. Is that how that works?
I'm not the AI expert. I'll tell you that. But I will remind you, though, by the way. So after the UCF game on Thursday, somehow AI is going to come into this story. You know, you cover games late, and the only thing that's open on my way back home to Tampa that night, it was like 1 a.m, I think. And I stopped at a Wendy's.
Oh.
I hadn't been to a Wendy's in years.
Yeah.
Full disclosure. And I got to the window, and I'm waiting for somebody to like, come to the, through the whatever you call it, the VA thing. And it was a voice, like a robot.
Yeah.
And so that's how they take your order now is a
Yep.
robot, some AI machine literally ask you what you want. And you have to, they rely on you speaking very good English to get
Yes.
the order to pop up on the thing. Cause I had to do it about 3 times before they
Yeah.
could actually like pick up what I wanted. And I was like, this is dumb. This is
Yeah.
very dumb.
Well, they can't get people to work those shifts, even if paying them $15, $20 an hour. Crazy world we live in. Christopher Cole says, where is that? They're going to shock the world. USF. There
It's a good
it is,
start.
right there. Yeah, nice start against Bethune-Cookman. Byron Brown only threw for what, like 178?
Yeah.
Had 3 touchdowns. Looked good. Incredible run. 41-yard touchdown run. Looked really, really good. USF rolled in their opener.
It
And
looked
so
like
did Alabama, by the way.
Yeah, of course they did. No, USF, this felt like a glorified scrimmage. And I mean that in a good way. This is what USF should be doing to teams like Bethune-Cookman, and that is burying them. That's exactly what they did. Saw great things from the Purdue transfer, the receiver Abdur Rahman Yassin. I hope I did not butcher that. But he was the leading receiver, and he gives them another threat on the outside alongside Sean Atkins, who returns, who was fantastic last season for USF. And how about that run defense? Bethune-Cookman ran 41 times in that game for 48 yards. That is a 1.2 yards per carry. Good turnout as well. I think they had like 37,000 people at Raymond James for that
really
game,
good.
which once they get the on-campus stadium, that's a sellout.
Yeah.
And the student section was packed, which was great to see. There's just so many good vibes right now with USF. And I think I mean, listen, there's some really good sneaky, group of 5 teams that are in contention to get that playoff spot. Or whatever we're calling the group of 5 now. I still don't know what the exact terminology is there.
Right.
But
we'll just
USF,
stick with that. We know what you mean.
I think USF will be hopefully in the mix, is all I'll say there. Certainly they'll be in the mix for the AAC.
They've got Alabama and Miami, 2 out of the next 3 games, and then Tulane. So they're at Alabama, 7:00 on Saturday night. Then they go to Southern Miss, which should be a dub at 7:00. It's going to Hattiesburg. Jesus, just trying to get there. Not tough enough. Then they got Miami coming in here September 21st to Raymond James Stadium. That is going to be a throwdown. So, very interesting. And then they got South Florida then they go to Tulane to play a good Tulane team. So it ain't going to be easy. And you got to believe that in the thing is about Miami and Alabama, you don't want to get too beat up. You're probably going to lose the games. Miami could be a tough list. Alabama's going to be tough at Alabama. I know Bulls fans are, they're rolling. I get it, but pump the brakes a little bit. Let's see what happens in that game. And I just don't want them to get beat up because there's a lot of winnable games at the end of this schedule. When you've got 2 very, very physical teams in Alabama and Miami that bring the wood. So that's a little bit of my concern about USF.
Hey, Pike fair? USF 20. Yeah, that's fair. Pike USF 23 put an interesting comment here. Heard UF was asking around about Alex Golish. We have the money and resources of any P4 now to keep him, hopefully, ... Well, you have to keep in mind, as much as every USF fan, I think, as long as the success continues, would love to keep Alex Golish around. At the end of the day, USF is not in one of the premier conferences in college football. And if Alex Golish continues to win games there, he's going to be near the top of the list when you think about head coaching candidates. And that's just the reality. So all I'll say is enjoy the time while you have Alex Golish here is what I'll say to that.
I would agree with that 100%. It's going to be tough to keep him.
That's not being negative. It's just the reality.
Yeah. Looks like Yaya is returning for week 1, according to the folks at Pewter Report. So that is good. Quick Bucks update as they welcome in Washington this week. By the way, still some good seats available for the home opener. If you're a Bucks fan, single game tickets, you can buy those on Ticketmaster and pay exorbitant fees, but You can get in for less than $100. Those upper deck tickets not too long ago were like $40. They're not anymore. They're like
yeah. I attended a Tom Brady game. Trust me, and sat in the upper deck, and I paid north of $200 a ticket to be at that game. So they've come down a little bit, but I don't think you're going to see $40 tickets anymore in the upper deck.
No, not unless something really goes south this year.
Right.
All right, you want to get back to some of that sound that you so diligently got?
Yeah, I did get the because they hit me with the ad there, but I actually found the clip from Twitter. So here is the actual full Billy Napier bottle issue.
Yep.
Yeah, Coach. I mean, given the experience and how confident you were in this team going into the season, just how disappointing and surprising was this performance?
Yeah, I mean, it's embarrassing, to be quite honest with you. Yep, that's how I feel. That's how our kids feel. And we've got a decision to make. You know, I mean, I think we have. It's what I just.
Yeah, you saw there in that clip. That was so it was about 25 seconds worth of him dealing with that water bottle, and eventually he gave up. It continued on, and when you get your butt kicked like that, that is the clip that tends to turn into a meme, and he will not live that one down. But Florida's got more issues clearly than him being able to open up a water bottle.
Did you see the Cristobal thing after the game? I just retweeted.
Is that the thing where he
does the gator chomp?
He did the gator chomp, and then he kind of put a knee through it or something like that.
Yeah, let's see if I can show this to you. And the clip is like, what did the guy say? I think he said, "This is how you know it's easy to pick out people who don't win often, because when they do win, they do shit like this." This is the.
I mean, it's very Miami.
It's very Miami.
It's very
exactly
I don't know what
you
shouldn't be surprised by it. I mean,
that's their swag, man. They live by it. And that's
their identity. And I'm okay with it. I think all the big three, I guess, in the state of Florida all have their own sort of thing, and that's Miami's.
Yeah. Do we have the Cristobal sound? I haven't heard any of that.
Yeah, let me cue it up here in a second.
Listen, and then the Miami players going by, the UF recruits who typically sit in the first row down in the end zone there as the team comes out. They're like, you don't want to go there. Come to the U. That's Bush League too. I mean, but again, it's Miami.
Is it?
It's Miami sweat? Yeah. That's how they roll.
I don't know if it's Bush League necessarily. It's just,
I think it is. I wouldn't want Florida State players doing that.
Yeah. Well, here was a little bit of.
I think it's classless.
Here was a little snippet of Cristobal after the game.
You let your play do the talking.
And created momentum, season momentum, and when it seemed like Florida was going to get some of it back, the response was awesome. After the interception, defense comes up with a big stop, forces the field goal. Every time they had an opportunity to respond, they did. From a 99-yard drive or 96-yard drive to converting some really critical down and distance situations. A lot of special guys making a lot of special plays. So questions.
Mario, you were down there having players come over to your fans afterward, really taking in the moment. Can you just describe what a win like this means to you?
Well, I mean, as you know, we no one ever likes to talk about the starting point, how it really started. And when we got to Miami, there was a lot of work to do. These guys have been through a lot, and they made the decision that that's it. It was enough. They've had enough, and they were going to prove that by the way that they played the game, and they did that. And a lot of fans made their way through it. I know they only gave us 4,000 tickets. I don't know how that's even legal, but anyways, I think more of our fans found a way to get in the stadium.
I'll go to the SEC partner
and wanted to make sure they were recognized by our players because once a king, always a king.
Cam Ward outside the line reception seemed like he did a lot right for you. What stood out to you the most about what he did today?
Yeah, he's not bad. special guy. All the stuff that you guys were probably wondering right during camp. Man, they talk a lot about Cam Ward. Is he really that good? Yeah, he's just scratching the surface. I mean, he wanted to keep playing and playing. So really active,
let him up 30.
Improvise, right, extended plays. Protection was great, albeit that one play. And he really, he's got a great connection with his receivers. Those guys are really tight. They've repped those plays. They've repped the adjustments to those plays so many times He just loves to compete, and he sets it off. He's the one. There's a spark plug. Every team has a spark plug. Every game has a spark plug. He and a couple of those other guys, but him particularly was the guy today.
Yeah, he is special. Cam Ward's special. He's the difference maker. No question about it. He may be and I think we don't want to overreact week one, but Miami appears to be the class of the ACC. Who's going to play for the conference title? It's going to be tough for FSU now. You've got to go. With two losses, if they lose at Miami, could they rematch? Clemson doesn't have a conference loss yet.
And then NC State
I think they'll get two.
Yeah, NC State was ranked going into the season, but they're deep into the fourth quarter against Western Carolina before they were able to actually put them away. That was awful. North Carolina, I mean, man, unfortunate for Max Johnson. Breaks his leg in this game. I mean, this guy's been through 3 programs now. He's been through a lot. And that's just.
I was texting with Brad just to make sure he's okay. He stayed in the hospital probably a couple days up there. Yeah, but he's going to be, he's going to be okay. It's a tough road, tough kid. But man, that was a heartbreaker. Yeah,
and Virginia Tech, very trendy pick.
Yes,
in the ACC, and they lose to Vanderbilt.
In overtime. Yeah,
in overtime. Not a good showing for this for this conference at all. Which everybody thought, and I thought too, was at least 6 or 7 teams. They had 7 teams, I think, ran preseason rankings. This is why sometimes they're worthless. Yes, they had seven ACC teams were ranked in the top 30 going into the season, and a few of them just had close missed calls, and Virginia Tech got upset, and Florida State loses. Clemson gets their ass kicked by Georgia.
Yeah, and Dabo's in trouble. I think he'll resign before he gets fired. But you just can't run a program this way, bro. You just can't.
But I think there's a bit of a missed narrative of why Clemson is in the spot they're in. Like, everybody's going to point to the fact that they don't use the portal, and that's true. But I think the bigger question here is, why is he not using the portal? And this is where the problem lies. I think Dabo is too loyal to the players that he recruits,
right,
and to the locker room. Right. Whereas you look at a Georgia, I don't think Kirby Smart gives one damn about loyalty to players or any of that stuff. He's about, how can I field the best team every Saturday, every year. It's competition to him, and he's ruthless. And I don't think Dabo has that in him at the moment. Mm-hmm. And a good example of that is he waited on – DJU was a 5-star quarterback. He waited too long to finally say, okay, I can't make it work with DJU. And now he's making the same mistake with Cade Klubnik, another 5-star recruit quarterback, who's just quite simply not very good.
Yep.
And they don't have the skill players like they used to have. The offensive line, which was never really their calling card even during their dynasty. They haven't placed one, I think, in the top 2 rounds of the NFL in years. And
defensive line was their calling card, and receivers, right? They were so good.
And you look at 3 years ago, they played Georgia, and that game was 10-3, if you recall.
Yeah.
Clemson absolutely matched up well against Georgia. And now you see 3 years later, the way they are, I mean, they're just not going in the right direction. I think a lot of it is Dabo is just too loyal to his players and wanting to make it work, and all about the locker room and all that stuff. And if you refuse to adapt in college football, you're going to get left behind. And Clemson has moved now to the B tier of college football.
And that was actually a good game for the first half. Clemson was hot with them. They went toe-to-toe in the run game and defensively. I really was like, wow, this is impressing me and then the second half, Georgia just made adjustments and blew their doors off. It's very interesting. I think Clemson's a little bit better than that final score would indicate. But they're not an upper tier team. I would agree with that 100%. No. What else do I want to get to? Oh, how about the story of Ricky Pearsall?
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. So Ricky Pearsall, former Gator, number 1 pick of the 49ers, just goes shopping in Union Square, downtown San Francisco, walking out and gets robbed by a 17-year-old. We'll find out where he's from, I guess, when
he's
they
from
decide
California.
to tell us. Yeah.
Tracy, California.
Right. And he takes the guy, he gets shot in the chest, and I guess took the gun from the assailant and shot him.
Yeah.
With his own gun.
They both got shot. Yeah.
Both got shot. And I don't know. The word is that he's in stable condition.
Yeah. Released from the hospital yesterday.
Yeah. So, but man, he is lucky to be alive.
His mother put out a
Wow.
post on Facebook, and it truly is. It's remarkable that he got shot through the chest, and somehow, and according to her, it missed all of his vital organs when it went out the other way.
Crazy.
The chances of that happening, I don't know what the percentage is there on that. I'm not no expert on any of this, but that's just wild. It truly is wild. So, and I believe I saw some reports. I don't know if they were confirmed. It might have been over a Rolex.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Well, listen, I hate to tell you guys, but you can't do that anymore. You want to walk around big cities like San Francisco, and the quotes from the Attorney General of California and the local law enforcement who routinely just turn these guys back out. I guarantee you, this juvenile has a rap sheet a mile long and has been incarcerated and let out 15 times. It'll all come out finally. You won't hear about it much in the mainstream media, but I guarantee you that's the deal. And they constantly just let these people back out to commit the same violent crimes over and over. And then they go on TV and go, oh, we're not going to, San Francisco does not tolerate this. We are not an unsafe place, blah, 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 blah. It's a bunch of hooey. But I'm telling you, if you want to walk out into these cities and wear Rolexes and wear jewelry, you are begging for it. You are begging for it. Don't do it. You want to go shopping and have your bling on, you are a target. And
I don't think it's right to say, and I don't know if you're trying to frame it this way, but I don't think we should just say that Ricky Pearsall had it coming or something like that.
No, not in that way. I'm just, this is a warning to everybody. And I'm, and he shouldn't have to think this way. He shouldn't have to think this way. Nobody should. But if, I'm not saying he had it coming. I'm just saying, and I don't even know if it was over Rolex. I'm just saying in general, you're seeing this everywhere. And you just we can't do the things we used to do. Sadly, it's so unsafe. It's so unsafe. But, so if you want to, you buy the stuff and you want to show it off, but yeah.
This is 2 NFL players in back-to-back off seasons, by the way, where this has happened to. Remember last year, Brian Robinson got shot as well.
That's right.
I think a carjacking in Washington last year.
Yep.
So this is 2 examples of this happening, and it's awful, obviously. So
it's horrible.
And
horrible.
Clearly hoping the best for Ricky Pearsall. Yeah. Hey, by the way, I know we've completely turned our attention away from Rays baseball because it's football season. But I did want to mention this. I thought you would have liked this. You might have saw it yesterday. Your boy Fred McGriff, Tampa native, went into the Rays Hall of Fame yesterday, and he spent an inning or two on the broadcast as well. So I think this has been one of the really cool things the Rays have started doing the last couple years.
Absolutely,
is recognizing the guys who laid the foundation for this franchise. We saw it with Wade Boggs, Carl Crawford, and Fred McGriff takes his place in yesterday.
Yeah, that was awesome. I was listening actually to a national interview, and they had his high school coach. Oh God, brain farting right now. Pop Cuesta was on telling stories about Fred, and it was just great to hear him. And that is something that is long overdue by the Rays. Wade Boggs talks about this a lot, that they just, the Rays for a long, long time had just ignored their history, ignored players. Actually, Wade said he would ask to come to see some of the players in the clubhouse, and the Rays organization says, yeah, we can't accommodate that. I mean, just crazy stuff. So they've rightfully turned the corner on that deal, and they're embracing their history and embracing the players and bringing them back. It's stuff the fans love, and you should serve that more. Absolutely, 100%. So nice job, Rays, for finally doing that. What else? And I didn't even pay attention to what they did over the weekend, the Padres.
It wasn't, considering the opponent, it wasn't too bad. I know they lost 2 out of 3, but they did score 11 runs on Saturday, which was nice to see. Yesterday, a little quiet against Dylan Cease, but they were able to battle back. They're in the 6th or 7th inning where they were able to get 3 runs in the most Rays way possible, by the way. They got the 3 runs on a hit by pitch where Junior Caminero almost got hit in the head. And it's very scary. They get it off that, a double play with the bases loaded, a run scores, and then a pass ball. That's how they scored the 3 runs. And I was like, that's the most Rays thing I've ever heard in my life. But unfortunately, they could not get it done in the last few innings there. And San Diego scored on a sac fly where Jose Siri just airmailed one from center field, unfortunately. But they're back to 2 games under 500, just kind of middling their way through the rest of the season.
Getting to 85 wins. That was my original prediction. They getting to
They're
85?
not getting to 85.
I ain't getting to 85.
I don't.
Really.
I don't mean Kevin Cash was even asked yesterday about the playoffs, and he said we got to get hotter than hot, and
yeah, it's over.
That ain't happening. I'm just looking at Junior Caminero at this point, and he got intentionally walked for the second time in the last 3 weeks in a big spot. So obviously, other teams fear him at the moment. And he hit a bomb on Saturday.
His velocity off his bat is just, it's Wander Franco-esque, if I may say that. To have a great prospect like this gives you some hope, but hopefully what they need to do, again, we've talked about this ad nauseum, take these young players and this young pitching staff and augment it with some actual proven hitters. You got a $45 million payroll on the books for next year. Go out and spend $70 million on hitters and make this team an instant contender. You could do it. You could do it. With this pitching staff, you can make an instant contender. 3 big-time free agents. We'll start with Pete Alonso, bring him home. And there's a few others out there that you can get. If you can get them to come here, you're going to have to overpay, and why shouldn't you expect the team to do this? You got your new stadium. You can project the new revenues, right? You keep telling us it's going to be such a huge hit. Well, you've got money in the bank. You can go out and spend the money because you're going to get a big return on your stadium, right? If everything you say is true, why not go spend the money? Oh, we have a $700 million mortgage now. Oh, okay. So I guess it's not going to give us more money. You said before the vote it was. No, now it's not. Okay. I'm so done with them. I'm so freaking done with them. Bring on college football, baby. Bring on the NFL. Bring on the Bucks. Cannot wait. And the Lightning, not too far behind. By the way, I will be back for my 10th season with the Tampa Bay Lightning and doing my pregame and postgame radio as well with Brian Engblom. I'm really excited about that. Now, we're not too far away from that as well.
No,
so.
And before you know it, we're going to be welcoming in the Nashville Predators for that game that's going to be very emotional.
Oh, my God.
I think I saw that it's going to be one of the national broadcast games for the Lightning this year. The ticket prices are out the roof for that one.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an emotional one for sure. But yeah, we're almost camp should be opening up here pretty soon, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. That'll do it for us here. Enjoy the game tonight. 7:30 start for your Seminoles. And of course, we'll be doing some social media stuff during the game and after the game. Tomorrow, more Bucks content. Todd Bowles is talking today, so we'll hear from him and get back in ready for the Bucks Commanders coming up this weekend. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy your holiday. We'll be back at you tomorrow.